have a specific question for Dr. Morse. I am scheduling another appointment with a counselor for my general concerns, but this one... Okay, so... I'm going to take a quick break here. I guess got to talk about something here. I guess I have her chart in my car, but let me work on that. You know, when you're counseling people, guys, and you're representing the divine and our the naturopathy and yourself, because you're putting yourself out there. So your attitudes, your demeanor, your ego, everything like that is seen by others. You wear everything on you. You might not realize that, but some of us that can see all that within you, I mean, you wear it like you wear your blouse or your shirt or whatever. You wear all that, and you can see it in people. So, you know, we're having some trouble with some practitioners being rude and stuff to others, and so we're getting a lot of complaints about this one particular one. She's overseas, and I don't have her name on me right now, but it's enough to say that we're getting a lot of complaints from her clients. Just want to treat people nice and open your heart up with love, guys. I mean, I've been doing this 50 years. I should have the ego. Hey, yeah, we're curing everything. No, be humble, because that's just life. These are facts. These are truths. These truths ring true for every one of us, not just me. Rings true for you and everybody else. I have no desire to treat anything that's not true. That's not good karma. So, you know, you always want to bring that heart out. Never think you're better than somebody else. That's the first thing that'll bring you down. These sort of things are just not good to have. You know, we're all from the same source. We all have different levels of awareness depending on our journey. I've said this before. I've talked to beings that just got here. And they're going to have a different awareness and a different agenda than those of you that we're done. I'm tired of this level of play. Same thing as you can put a young, say, maybe a couple 5-year-olds in Toys R Us, or maybe 7-year-olds in Toys R Us. Aisles of toys and dolls and everything, just all kinds of material playthings of all kinds. I'll give them a month or so, and then they're going to go, can I come out? I'm tired. I'm done. When you're done playing, move on to another level, right? And we're supplying you the levels you can go to. Isn't that beautiful? Right, let's see what this is. Okay. With so much happening in the world right now, I wish I didn't have a question like this. Feel like we should be focusing on the spiritual, but this is something that's plagued me for years, and now there's a whole fund-raising group dedicated to research for it. It's PSSD, or post-SSRI sexual dysfunction. From my 20 years researching why it happens, what I've come up with is that it, number one, chemically deadens nerve endings. All right. Number two, chemically alters the DNA of the hormone, whichever it's targeted for, receptor cell, which in turn alters the ANS. And although the body renews itself, it is renewing the altered cell over and over again. This pathway is why people who are affected not only lose their feeling, but also sensations related to loving, bonding, and joy. It's all connected. The bonding agents used are strong in SSRIs, but the forever curious thing is that not everyone, if affected, and not all of the affected are left with long-term damage after they discontinue the drug. But those who are, myself being one of them, are left on their own. Wow. My question is, the fact that it's not all who are affected leads me to wonder if it's related to whose body can detox, for lack of a better word, and whose body cannot. Well, I don't know of any bodies that cannot detox. that statement, I don't know anybody in the world. I've had people come, of course, medical doctors claim there's the MF gene. I don't know, a medical doctor put that one out there. A dumb butt. You know, crazy. You know, these guys, they play, you know, they consider you children. But here's the thing. There's a lot of concern about that with these messenger RNAs, you know, going into mitosis and creating new cells from their own. But I'll have to tell you, these are pieces. And I have to say that I guess this is why I'm teaching this, is get into that high level of energy and consciousness, because that is how you have protection over all other forms of, even lower forms of chemistry. I only can say that chemistry is consciousness manifested in dualistic form. And that's where the power is. That power is channeled through all these channels out through the cell. Because you want to know about the consciousness of a cell. Because everything has its own unique consciousness, even within that. The organelles of their own individualities, the mitochondria, the nucleus. Then each one has its own level of consciousness. Let me tell you, everything has a level of consciousness, no matter how small or how big. And then the group consciousness of it. So I know there's a lot of fear about that. There's a fear about spirochetes the same way. Once they enter a cell, you're done. But the body, the power of the body, the power of consciousness, the power of God overforms these. We're down at the lowest levels. So start hooking to the highest levels of power and strength, because that's all we have. Neurological systems, these neurons probably has a lot of neurotoxic chemicals involved in it, but you have to rebuild with that. Why it affects others and not others is the same thing as, let's say two people dive off a diving board at 20 feet high. They both hit the bottom of the lake, and they both break their neck. All right, we run them both to the ER, maybe one in the ambulance. We're able to get steroids in them, maybe. But we get them to the ER. They're both C4, C5 quads. One can work themselves out and get up and walk. The other cannot. What's the difference? Well, we're talking about a human body, right? So what's the difference between you and me and our human bodies? Cells and fluids, because that's all we're made of. Human, the Homo sapien body, cells and fluids. So now the cells, of course, are arranged in ways that have nervous systems and livers and hearts and all the functionals of organs and glands. The same way with the cells. To create a form that's movable, mobile, that has some senses to it, that can articulate a little bit, that can power the mind, the movement of thought and emotions into one housing, one form. I mean, that's what you're looking at when you're looking at these forms. You got to realize you, the awareness, the true you, is not the form. Okay? Soon as this form can't house you anymore, you're out. Whether it's you're not taking care of it through chemistry, through your lifestyle, or you have trauma, an accident, or someone shot your butt. Maybe you visited New York City. I feel sorry for you guys. Holy crap, you're going to have a horrible place there pretty soon. Oh my God. Discipline is essential in these lower levels, guys. Some of these people act like this isn't a lower. These are lower levels of consciousness. Discipline is essential. And you guys see what life is without self-discipline. If you don't have discipline from your parents, you generally have a hard time developing self-discipline. And the discipline is essential in achieving things. If you look at the Asian as an overall, I consider them highly disciplined people. My God, some of the things they can do. Look, there was what was she, like 9 years old, Tibetan little girl? She could write 2 or 3 languages with her toes, forwards and backwards. God! Woo! And what is our little 10 years old doing? Well, let's see if we can kill this guy, hiding around the corner with this guy, and let's see if we can do this guy, shoot him over here, and... All right, So it is essential that we focus on the spiritual side. But the spiritual side, it's not something you think about. I'm being spiritual now, but I'm not there. That's the mind playing games with you. Spirituality is what you are, who you are, your consciousness, the presence of it, the understanding of the freedom and awareness of it. When you start engaging thought and emotions and things like this, you're now engaging your drama. You're now engaging your world, your rock, your rock and roll. You're engaging your journey. It's your journey, and you're engaging it. Sometimes we've been, all the power people and even some of the ministers, they try to get you away from understanding that you're the one. If you go back to Jesus, he said, you're the one. But some of the ministers didn't get that. So now they try to get you away from you're nothing. You're a sinner. And that kind of talk separates you. That kind of talk is negative. That type of talk will always have you in fear of the divine and of everything else because you're powerless to do anything of yourself. But then in the Bible it says that it's omnipotent, omnipresent, omniscient. Work through that and get on the other side of that and realize you're all beautiful, beautiful divine beings. You are it expressing itself. I mean, we are in a world of oneness. We don't know it here because at this level, this is the most separated, finite level. Everything is finite and separate. As you leave the fine hardness of this world and the chemistry, and you start getting into pure energy bodies and stuff, this whole thing changes in your awareness. It's amazing. That's why it's fun to play out of body. I get what you're saying here, but we can't have gloom and doom in that thought. And that's why biochemistry can't go that way, because it is a gloom and doom, especially when you get into mitosis and the movement of memory RNAs and all this stuff. And then there's this new, thanks for sending this, by the way, this gluco RNA, which is interesting. They're finding these glucose-based RNAs all over the place on cell walls. So that's interesting. I'm going to read that. I've been kind of piecing at it. But that's good information. Do we have to go with this? Oh, okay, so let's see what time it is, because I have to take care of it in a few minutes. So I want to read this real quick, and then I got one more to go over real quick with you, because we went over her case, and I asked her to send the eyes. She sent the eyes. So we want to go over this case real quick. The bonding agents users, you know what? You try not to, you try your best. You fight for your rights and your freedoms. The only saving grace we have are two. Your diet and your botanicals. Botanicals have a power you just don't understand, and that's where you can get some of these things done. So I'm on herbs and I'm on fruit, and that's where we're going. If you get vaccinated or anything like that, or you're on some of these drugs like that, which then leads me to wonder, can those bonding agents, for lack of the proper language, be detoxed? Absolutely. Your body doesn't want anything in there. You can have some of the most bizarre, well, here's a good example. A hydraulic jack blew up in a guy's face, and it shoved hydraulic fluid right up in his eye, right up in his whole structure there, and his eye was black, and they were going to take it out. Of course, he was blind. Then they were going to take it out, remove his eye. They came in here. Now you had that petrochemicals saturated all in those tissues and all in that. Interstitially, all up in the sinus, all of that, right? I said, no. I said, let's detox it and let's see. And by the way, I've got an eye wash that's a kick butter. Let's start using it. Because my eye wash moves blood and lymph. So it starts to move blood and lymph in your eye. It pulls mucus out of you and everything else. Pretty cool stuff. So I say, go ahead and use it. Let's try it. Hydraulic fluid just started pouring out of him. Pretty soon he's got his peripheral vision back. He's getting more and more and more. And then I'm so busy I lost track of him. So I suppose he went ahead and got it done. You see what I'm saying? So don't count that power of consciousness, the power of the original cell, and that's what you're doing. You're almost thinking the same thing, because remember, you're genetically remembering cells when you're getting on these foods, because you're eating consciousness. It's hard to understand because you got to separate the mundane world of chemistry, vitamins, minerals, elements, all this stuff, to the world of consciousness that created it. I also read a study that they did on primate where the DNA damage that occurred was from SSRI was passed down to her male offspring. Well, any damage to any cell, and it doesn't have to be from this drug, it could be any damage, it could actually be from a car accident, any damage to any cell, any weakness, any strength, let's go the opposite side, any strength you develop to a cell is passed on to your offspring. That's genetics. So don't let that fear you. That is genetics, simple genetics. But get rid of the drug and the damage that it's done. The body will repair itself. If I've ever showed you proof, it's that toe, right? But I've repaired people for so many years, guys, and your body will repair itself. Get in the power and strength, even in your own consciousness, of not allowing it. Because if you accept these things like this, you accept them in your consciousness, you're taking that on, and yeah, it just might stick in you, right? So your power comes from, one, your awareness. That's your number one power. Second power is going to be your mind, all right? Third power is going to be your emotions. And your fourth power is going to be the power of the human cell and of chemistry here. Those are your four powers. Get them up there. Get on the raw. Get your kidneys filtering so your body can get. Got to remember that if you can't get rid of this, detox this out. And what could block that? A cationic state. That means your body's in a state of acidosis. You're not filtering. Everybody's staying home. Look at the nature of cationicness of an acid. Everybody's staying home and having a party on you or in you. And after a while, everybody gets hard and drunk and locked together. I'll be okay. You will be okay. We'll make sure of that, right? Right. But there are countless others that are desperately searching. And so, let's power up. Let's all of us power up, guys. We'll get our bodies strong. We'll get our bodies filtering. And they're going to go, because guess what? All of this stuff they're doing is going to bring them down too. You're the only group going to be the ones surviving because you're learning how to be healthy, get the ability of the body to clean itself out at its peak performance.